Hey, this is Dan O. Welcome to FME.
Uh-oh.
Attention Undivided. I'm going to be
Uh-oh.
shoulder switching throughout for more views. People love different shoulders. I am your host. Um, I just ate a lot of great Mexican food. This is Dano. My
Yeah.
guest. Um,
I just had a lot of good Chinese food. That's better.
we're doing it. We're doing it. The
We're gonna argue over that shit.
we're making it happen. The said my guest said one of the coolest things on a rap album in 2020.
Uh-oh.
He said, I
What was
spit a solar ring. I spit a solar ring.
it? Yeah.
That's pretty
With the
fucking
feds,
cool.
yeah, with the feds approaching them.
Yup.
What's at the Smithsonian?
Yeah.
Dan, oh, what's good with you, bro? How are you, bro?
It's a hell of a time. Um, it's weird. It's weird out there.
Yeah,
But
nah, for sure.
yeah, times are terrible, but the memes are incredible. Uh, we're we're doing it big with our hip hop stuff here. Wu Tang, Public Enemy. It's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Hell yeah.
I am into it. So I
You hear that
want.
you did you hear that you God and Flavor Flav making a collab album?
I did not know this.
Like no, like you look like you was actually giving a shit too. That's
I
the
was like,
sad
are they
part.
gonna call it? Are they gonna call it the weakest link? Are they gonna? What are they gonna do? I don't know.
That's hard.
Um, but yeah, it's. I had to say right off the bat, I want to. I want to say I admire how you move,
Thank you.
because when this album came out, when Gandhi Loves Children came out, your album with Roper Williams, you were very confident about this album.
Oh hell yeah.
You were
Roper
you.
said Roper said much love to y'all. He's sorry he couldn't be here. He up in the studio finishing a whole bunch of amazing
Understood, man. He's
music he
he's
dropped.
everywhere.
He said much love to you. He definitely support the movement and
That's
hope
awesome,
so
man.
much
It's
love for
great to hear. I'd love to talk to him at some point. I mean, he's. I told you, Roper's in that zone where everyone's kind of pretending they always loved him.
sure.
Everybody's like, "Oh yes, Roper Williams, one of the best producers out." Just like we, the Gandhi Loves Children hit in a big way, and it's still hitting. It's still reverberating through. You're still seeing new
Hell yeah.
reviews come in. It's like it ups levels. And when it broke, people were like, "This album's incredible," and you were like, "I know."
No, I'm not gonna lie. Like when we was making it, that's kind of exact. Could you hear me good? You hear me
Yeah,
good?
yeah,
Okay.
cool.
When we was creating it, it's literally like I was saying in the interview we had a few months back. It was literally a 2 to 3 year album making process from starting it 2 or 3 different occasions, having to stop it, and then starting it back up again. Once we finally started locking in, and we probably got, I would say, the fourth or fifth song recorded, we was like, all right, Smithsonian too. That was one of the early ones that I
Right.
recorded. I was like, this gonna be a single. This shit is too fire. Like, but we knew we had something definitely special and definitely different than everything that was coming out, especially in 2020. I was telling, joking with my family next to me. I'm like, yo, it's crazy because with the pandemic and all of the craziness that went down this last year, is still carrying over. But literally, to me, like anybody who dropped a project within that year is literally a part of history that's never gonna happen again. And that shit is
No,
crazy. Like,
it's weird because like I think I don't remember exactly the number I put Gandhi Loves Children on at my year end list, but it was like 44 or something like that. And
yeah,
I knew when I put it there, I was like, if I had sat with this longer, there's no way it would be this low.
yeah,
Like
no,
that was definitely in my head. Like I
yeah, you got put onto it late. I feel you.
yeah, no, I
That's
mean
why, that's why I had to hit you. I was like, yo, much love, but you was talking that horrorcore shit. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm like, you hear this shit I'm talking about on this shit?
let's get into this. I mean, you you don't see Gandhi Loves Children as horrorcore. Uh and I was just trying to find a way to describe this to people like, it's not easy. So how would you define the differences? What is horrorcore and why are you not horrorcore?
Well, to me, like I'll say it like this. I'm a fan of a lot of horrorcore shit, but to me, like, I always, and I can tell like you a fan of it too, certain types of shit, but like,
Yep.
to me, like, putting me in the horrorcore land is kind of like, I would say, undermining horrorcore, because like, to me, it's a lot of people who would hear certain shit and they would be like, this guy's horrorcore because it's dark. It's a dark song, but I'm like, to me, I know the era of like actual horrorcore shit from like Esham and Brother Lechung, like actual shit that's like, yo, 99% of their music is literally that, and it's dope as hell. Like, and to me, like, I always, yeah, to me, I've just always made my shit always different, and like, to me, too layered to be considered horrorcore. A lot of dark themes and elements, but like I was saying in the interview, we living in a world where people sell their kids for sex and put their babies in microwave. So fuck it.
Yeah, this is like a Clash London Calling argument where like every punk kid that I grew up with was like, Clash London Calling's not punk. That shit's not punk. You know, like they were determined that like punk was like real in the weeds, hardcore shit, right? And London Calling had such a wide berth to what it was doing that it couldn't just be punk. And I think I understand that as Gandhi Loves Children. Gandhi Loves Children goes a lot of different directions, and so that makes sense because Necro, it's just very dialed in,
Yeah, for sure,
right?
for sure.
So
but
that makes
but like you were saying though, definitely a lot of dark themes. But like I said, to me, definitely with it coming out in 2020, it definitely resonated in a huge way. Like,
yeah. I mean, have you had any brushback? Has anyone been like, I can't believe he said this, or is there any of that?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Me and Roper literally joke about it because we haven't gotten any. And we was me personally, like, when I was creating some of the songs, I was like, wow, this is gonna ruffle some feathers, but it been just all love. And to me, I love it because people are seeing the creativity within the mouth of madness, I'll say.
the
But it's some shit that didn't make the album. I'm not gonna lie. It's some shit that kind of was, so if you think that shit was crazy, it's a few other shits. They might come out later on down the line, but I don't know.
Deluxe edition.
We gotta wait and see.
Gotta wait on that. But it was the cool thing about the response was it felt like all the good stuff about independent hip hop or underground hip hop that like when this hits, smart people say it's good, the rest of us listen, and the rest of us say it's good, and it just keeps like getting bigger, right?
No, for sure.
Like Zilla's like, this shit's awesome, and I'm like, all right, let me check it out, or Gary Suarez or whoever puts that, they're just like this, and it just keeps going word of mouth style.
For sure.
My wife was very scarred by one of your videos. Where you were a clown and there was like
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yep. Tell her I'm a beautiful. Tell her I'm a nice guy. Tell her it's only art. It's only art.
Yeah, there's definitely like a who is that lady? Is she having fun here? Like it was great.
Yeah. She loved every second of it.
That's awesome. So yeah, what a crazy thing, and the album is so good. I think with good albums, what I tend to do is like I listen to it, like I play my favorite shit, and then I decide I've played my favorite shit too much, and I don't want to burn it out. I'm gonna play the songs that I don't fuck with that much more than I play my favorite songs to give them some rest. So I'll switch through and I'll create new favorite songs through this, like every couple months,
Yeah, that. What's some of your favorites right now? Because to me, it's interesting. Like I get different response. When it first came out, I was getting certain responses, and then as time went on, I got different people saying different songs. And
when it first hit Fly Pelican Fly was what I was doing every day. I was just fucking
Yeah, that's a
Fly
favorite.
Pelican Fly. I'm a hell of a guy. I still say that. It's, that's my deal. But I, I gave it a rest, and now I am hooked on Arsenic,
Yeah,
White Noise,
yeah.
and the art of
Oh, the Cure for Amoxicillin with Lifelong.
Oxycillin, the cure for
Yeah, that
Moxicillin.
shit is fucking beautiful. That's
It
one of my
is.
favorites.
It's beautiful because it's the back and forth is just incredible. You know, Lifelong, yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah. OG. Shout out to my family.
Lifelong, man. That was, I mean, because I remember hearing it the first time and being like, how do you guest star with this dude? Like, this is a different world. And Lifelong was right there, man. And Pootie killed it on White Noise.
Oh yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
It's, yeah.
Nah, for sure. Okay, so you said White Noise, Cure for Amoxicillin. Okay, that's kind of like,
Oxy- Arsenic, yep.
yeah. I've been hearing that with Fly Pelican. Obviously, I've been hearing Nasty Man a lot. I've been
Yeah.
hearing Smithsonian too, and Stigmata. Stigmata is a new one I'm been hearing about lately.
Tell you
We
what,
got an
I've
live
been
video for
doing?
that coming too.
You know what I've been doing in my mind? In my mind, I put Royce the 5'9" on right at the end of Stigmata. Like that's where he would go if he was going to feature on this.
Or would it be the same type of verse and the same voice tone, where he just come in and like just spit some Elroy shit over the same type thing?
Right as that soul sample hits its high, Royce comes in, says
Okay,
some evil shit.
I see the voice tone over it. I see it.
That'd be fun. But yeah, no, that's it's you had a great feature on you've been on a few of Iceberg Theory's albums.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
fam. Shout out to him and August for 9. They always come. They always come with the ill shit that I gotta come through and knock it out the park for him. You feel me?
is awesome.
Family
So
right there.
as specific as your style is, uh, you're so good at transporting it to different places. You're so good at showing up on other people's stuff or having other people show up on your stuff and just getting it. Uh,
Yeah, no, for sure.
do you like you what is the weirdest stuff that you listen to that people wouldn't think you listen to?
Really, I wouldn't even call it weird. I just zone out to different shit sometimes. Like might throw on some heavy metal shit, a lot of trip hop shit, just different shit that'll get me creative in like a zone that I may have never tapped into before, or just something that I might see that be like, yo, that shit is ill. Like, even if I don't fully understand it, I might see a visual or hear a word in something that I'm like, yo, that shit is dope. Like, I wanna explore this a little more.
It's, I mean, and to me, those different like these different albums have different kinds of music have all these have a different place. Like if I have to work and I'm tired and it's early in the morning, that's heavy metal time.
Yeah, I feel you.
You got to pump that up. You got to keep it moving. Um,
Heavy
and
metal is
yeah,
my late night. I get in my late night bag with heavy metal sometimes.
oh,
Like
that's good.
maybe 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Yeah,
Like that. Get into
kick it
something.
up.
And that's when I'm writing a lot. So like I
Oh,
might, yeah, I'll zone out to that and just think of a new idea I might have not came through from listening to some hip hop music or some
yeah,
shit. Like,
yeah. No, that's I people who are like listening to one thing all the time. That seems wild to me. Like that you'd be dialed into this one thing, but yeah, people do it.
yeah, no, you
Uh,
absolutely right.
so like, and I was thinking about it. Was interesting. Who, if you had to pick somebody whose career was like a pace setter for your own, what attributes did you want to take and and follow in that footstep?
Um, see, that's weird for me because I would say like as an artist, it may not be. I don't think it's a particular artist that I may have went like father, but there's certain creatives that like I'll enjoy their work, and I'll be like, yo, I want my music to be as dope as a David Lynch movie, or as dope as a Stanley Kubrick movie, or as
Oh wow,
ill as the Stephen King book. And if I can achieve that, I've done my job like as the artist.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
So you're
no.
not really like sitting there being like, I want this guy. I want kind of like this guy's energy, this guy's, hooks.
Oh no, hell no. Really,
No,
I don't even like I don't even like using the same flows on songs. I never like use the same flow twice on a song. So that's even like I challenge myself. Like if I listen to a beat, I'm like, yo, did I ever rap like this? Did I ever rap about this? Did I ever use this type of word format in my bar structure? And if not, most likely if it's dope, I'm gonna definitely do it. But that's where you get the amazing production from Roper and other producers that definitely push that.
that's awesome. It's cool that you can just see, other lanes and put it into yours and kind of make those colors look different.
Oh, sure.
That's awesome. So and so was you said this was done over years? Was this done like in person with Roper, or was it a combination of the two?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. We live like 45 minutes away from each other. So it would be like I would go see him for maybe like a day or two, stay at his crib, we'll get some Chinese food, go to the vinyl spot, make some records. And a lot of time he'll make the beat right there. I might write and record or I might take him home, depending on the zone I'm in. I know for a fact I remember Stigmata murdered him and Jackal in the Sculpture. I literally took those beats home at the exact same time and wrote them standing in my kitchen. And I remember after I wrote them, I called them like, bro, these shits, these shits is gonna take the album to the next level.
Let's go.
And them shits, when them shits was laid, I was like, I told you, wait till people hear these shit.
Murder Them has gone way up the charts for me as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It took me a while to get over the delivery of the song to be like, because you can just soak in like the volume that's at, right, and just be
Yeah, hell
lost in that delivery. But once I really started listening to it, and like, man, that shit is great. It's just such a
thank
it
you, bro.
really hits the mood of how this police brutality has driven everyone. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
just think it's
no,
great.
no, thank you, bro. Yeah, a song like that definitely like was important to the album because we was that song probably took the longest to put together with the samples and everything and just the exact vocal tone I wanted, even the way it was mixed. Like we were saying, like it had to be mixed perfectly, or the message we wanted to get through would be lost. It would just sound like a dope song, but it wouldn't move you on some like, yo, this shit is crazy. I feel exactly what they speaking about on that.
Did this album take much longer than anything you've done before, or was it at the same space pace as usually work? Or
Definitely longer than usual. Probably because I'm always a perfectionist with stuff, but you got two perfectionists with me and Roper, so it took a couple more months to just get everything exactly the way we wanted it. And the first time we listened to it in its entirety, we like, yeah, this shit is this shit is it, man. This shit is some beautiful shit.
yeah, no, they were like I don't know if you've heard the Super Duty Tough Work podcast with Blueprint and E Logic.
Yeah, I heard a couple of episodes. Shit is dope.
They had a great episode that was like called like Quick and Dirty versus like slow and perfected.
Yeah, hell
Um,
yeah.
and it was like really good discussion of the pros and cons of those two, because there's definitely been some people who took a long time with an album, perfected it, dropped it, and everybody was like, you know, um,
Yeah,
and that sucks.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, 10 years and it's like, God damn. If it's off your damn phone in 2 months, that's hard.
There's a rumor that Detox 2021 is coming.
Like think about Jay Electronica, right? Jay Electronica must be a little miffed. That shit is
I
like
love this album.
that shit is a life's work, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, you know.
Nah, see, to me, it's kind of, I'm kind of on the opposite with that because to me, I think some of the acclaim it didn't get is because it came out literally at the top of the pandemic. Because I remember he had like a whole album listening event for it that got canceled, and
Yeah.
he kind of just dropped it. But to me, I look at it like he dropped it. It might didn't get the super love out the gate, but I seen it on a bunch of the top 10 lists, and it got that Grammy nomination. So
Oh, that's
I would
right.
say
You can't.
hindsight, he won.
Yeah. That's fair.
Hindsight,
That's fair.
he won with that one. Actually,
Yep.
the Act 2 album, when he dropped the actual album later in the year, the Act 2, to me, that wasn't as dope as the the one he dropped with Jay. So
Oh,
I
right,
was
right.
like, I was
Yeah,
like, the
no, I'm
Rush
with you.
one is way better than the 15-year one. Like,
So how are you going to do in the future? Do you think this is like the framework to lock in like this and take your time with it, or are you going to try and do a little bit of both, punch in and out, and like quick
yeah,
tracks here and there, or what are you going to do?
yeah, I would say life moves in weird ways. So, like, for example, right now, I'm super in recording mode. So I'm recording like 3 or 4 different projects at the moment, like in different studios, in different cities, and all of that. And they
Yeah.
all coming out great. So right now I'm just on my work mode. I'm like, all right, I got 3 or 4 things I want to get done. I can't take my time the way I would want to, but I can at least perfect what I'm doing when I'm writing and recording and all of that. Even like me and Roper, like we got basically our next 2 projects almost finished already. Like that we started, that we started creating at the end of the Gandhi Loves Children sessions. So,
Mhm.
but
That
those
makes
definitely,
sense.
you definitely won't see them for a minute though. But them shits are some other shit.
Yeah, I had that happen like with I wrote a book and it took me a long time. It took me like 18 months. Uh, and it was intense. And I'd never
Uh-huh.
done it before. And then I started a second book as kind of a joke, just like
Yeah,
it was totally the opposite, just to have
yeah,
fun. And I got it done in half the time. It was done in like 9 months.
yeah.
But
The creative bug is funny how it works.
and you just get better, right?
Yeah, hell yeah,
You learn from this process, and you're like,
hell
I'm going
yeah.
to do it this way, like I did this, or I'm going to avoid this, like I didn't do that. And you pick up skills along the way.
No, that's definitely true. Because I'm telling you, as amazing as Gandhi Loves Children was, this new material, we definitely like we looking at each other with that. We like, yo, we got the magic back plus like
That's awesome.
I'm telling you, like I'm loving it. Like it's some of my favorite music I'm making right now. Like shit is beautiful.
That's great. Let's uh, so as great as the reaction has been to Gandhi Loves Children, do you
Yeah.
see anything that you think has been regularly missed by people? How do you feel people's understanding of the album is?
No, it's funny. There people are actually getting it. Like like I was saying about when you was asking about was we getting any backlash over certain lyrics, certain things used, and I'm like, not really. Like it's been all to me. People are the madness. People are understanding the madness. They digging into it. That's why I loved your review, like that you gave about it. And I respect certain reviews because I never liked the old just like it's a dope album review. I'm like, no, like talk about it. Talk about your favorite songs. Talk about certain lyrics. Really delve into it, and it's been definitely getting that 9 times
Yeah,
out of
well,
10 from everybody
it's
showing
kind
support.
of an unignorable. It's an unignorable thing, right? So you can't listen to Gandhi Loves Children and then like mail in the review and be like, pretty
The
good.
hell
It's
no.
okay. Like it strikes you somehow, you know. It's gonna strike you, and it's
Yeah,
gonna
no, sure.
keep. Yeah.
No, and that's what even like I was before it dropped, probably like 2 to 3 weeks before it dropped, we was definitely sending it out to certain people early, certain reviewers and stuff like that. I definitely got you with that when we drop the next one too. I'm gonna definitely send it to you early.
With it.
But I was telling people, I'm like, yo, really sit with it. Don't just review the shit. It came out October 16th. I'm like, just don't review it October 17th. Like, if you've been listening to it since September 10th, maybe. But I'm like, don't just take my shit and just, yeah, it's this, it's that, it's this. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm gonna quiz you on this shit.
I'm with I'm with you on this. When we started this shit, like the Free Music Empire, we were like, we're gonna sit with this shit as long as we want. Like, this is our site. Like, we don't
Hell
have
yeah.
to. We're not under a gun. Like,
Yeah, hell
we're just
yeah.
gonna sit with it and fucking know it. And it was fun. It was fun to get to know these albums. Like, you learn so much on the third listen, on the fourth listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't. My skin crawls thinking about first listen reviews. I know
Yeah.
people who can do it well, like I think Yo Phillips does it really well. But it's not for me, dude. That's not for me.
No, and I can even go by experience on that. Because I've heard certain projects that at first it wasn't for me, and it ended up being a project I listened to every damn day 6 months later. That I'm
Right.
like, I had that happen to me a lot this year, to tell you the truth, with certain projects. So I definitely
Yeah.
give it to me.
What was the the first time I registered this was a book. Um oh, The Postman Always Rings Twice. Have you ever read this? Probably not. It's
Back in the day, not recently, I haven't.
James M. Cain is the author, and it was supposed to be a classic, and so I read it, and I felt it just like offended me. I was like, this is fucked up. They're gonna kill the Greek store owner. He seems like a nice guy. What the fuck is going on here? And I just put it down. And I was mad at the book, but I was thinking about the book all the time. And at some point, I just admitted to myself, I'm like, this book is winning. This is a good fucking book because I can't shake it.
You think about this shit when you sleep. You like, God damn, that Greek man shouldn't have got it like that.
Right. Yeah. Like she's
you think about the Greek man the rest of the fucking year.
They're like having sex in his kitchen and he's sleeping and they're plotting to murder and I'm like, it's fucked up. But I was like, man, this is well written because it's freaking me out. So I finished the book and he became one of my favorite authors. And I think that an important lesson, like you have to let the album beat you, and like you have to let the art beat you. You have to just give yourself to what it's doing. If it's good, Yeah.
No, that's always my favorite part about albums. That's honestly, even as the creator, that's my favorite part because I might hear something after making an album and be like, oh shit, that this line has a whole different meaning now. Like to me, the song Nuclear Warfare, when I made it, it was in one context. Now that I'm listening to it at the end of 2020, it's in a whole nother context. And it still hits home either way, like either way you listen to it.
Yep. No, it's special when you get albums that are just like totally worlds into themselves and you just get swept up in it.
Yeah.
When was the last album from someone else that did that to you?
Swept up. Really, a lot of the albums that dropped 2020 was an amazing album year.
I'm with you.
You had that Killer Priest Nebula album, you had the Stove God album, the Army Hammer album, the Sharpnail album, the even the West Side Fly God is an awesome God too. Like when I first, that's an example. Like when I first heard it, I was like, it's cool. Then I heard it like towards the end of the year. I'm like, wow, these beats are fucking dope. These lyrics are dope. I love this album. I'm listening to it like 3 or 4 times a day. But yeah, 2020 definitely had a lot of dope projects. I could go on and on and on. Like 2020 was an amazing hip hop year to me with releases.
I'll tell you, the last one that got me, Roper Williams was on it. Was produced on it.
Oh, the Navy Blue joint. Yeah. That shit is crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah. Amazing project.
He's so different.
Yeah.
He's so different, and the way he talks about things is so different. And so that to your point, that was all over the place in 2020, right? Elucid, there's nobody like Elucid. Like, is this all over the place like that?
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's great to have that. I was gonna say here. So this is, and I'm a philosophy major. Forgive me for overthinking this shit. Okay.
Oh no, you gotta do it.
One of the reasons this album fucked me up is because I grew up loving Gandhi.
I know where
Yeah.
you're going with it.
Sat-
I heard this from a few people.
Satyagraha. I studied the Satyagraha. I was big into the teachings of Gandhi. I'm a very peaceful person, and I'm very happy about that. So there's a lot of uncomfortable truths on this album, right? And just kind of mercilessly delivered. So is what does the listener do with these truths? What's the next step for them once they've admitted that all
I'll
of what
say
you're saying
this.
is true? Huh?
I'll say literally. Definitely, I'm never really that big of too much of a fan of explaining music to the T. I always say I like to listen. I like to let the listener listen, give me their perspective, whether it's right or wrong. I'll tell you what I meant by it because I already knew what I meant. It's all about you listening and you telling me what you got from it. So
I
it's all
love it.
perspective at the end of the day. Somebody
I
might
love
think
it.
Gandhi's the best. Somebody might think Gandhi is the best guy ever. My album doesn't have to change that for you. It's just literally a song title. And it can literally mean 10 different things. It was a Gandhi coloring book at one point. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh wow. No,
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 different editions and all of that. So I can
that's
literally
awesome.
just mean I have a son that I gave him the Gandhi coloring book. Or it can get deeper with it's all on how you take it.
That makes sense. I mean, I don't know what the meaning is yet, but I know where it is. I figured out where it is.
Uh,
So the end of Arsenic before Nasty Man, there's a part where the beat drops out, and there's this kind of a spoken word freestyle section with the Zulu Nation part. I feel like that gives a lot to what this album means.
and again, another true story that was documented with the whole being body situation.
Oh
So,
yeah,
like I said, everything from that, certain lyrics you might hear about Kanye West or about the presidency that we're luckily escaping out of within the next 2 days. Who knows? We might end up in something fucking worse, but that's how the world works.
you know.
Even like I said, nuclear warfare going into what's going on now. It's all just like connected in a sea of chaos, but it's a sea of chaos that's deserves a microscope on it to me.
Right, and there's a
Even the Epstein shit.
yep.
That's like all of that type of shit was definitely running rampant this year with in different forms of entertainment and different people and all of that shit.
I think with that spoken word section, you really start to address like how dangerous it is that as a group, as a society, we decide we're not going to talk about stuff anymore.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we just put it over there, and it doesn't go away. You know, it's still real and true. And I think that, I mean, you talk about that and you link it all together, where it's like it's not just you being like the government's corrupt. It's you being like you can't ignore what happened with the Zulu Nation. Like, you know, you can't. Sorry, KRS One, this was real. You know, um, and that, I don't know. There's a lot to get through on that. You know, it's heavy.
yeah.
Good work.
No, yeah, for sure.
So the other thing I was going to ask is if you had your pick of any guest verse and any producer in the world for your next album, who would you be taking?
Oh, okay. For producer, I'd say either Prince Paul or Dan the Automator. And for guest verse, Let me think. Guess first, because I could throw up a few names, but Fatboy Sharif featuring equals goat shit. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Pharaoh March. Pharaoh March.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
good.
I think that shit would be crazy. Like
That's so good.
we both get to spitting and flowing, untouchable. That shit would be ridiculous. He about to drop some shit Friday too. That 13 shit. The Rock joint. That shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That shit is,
Man, Monch has some incredible shit, man.
yeah, hell yeah.
Incredible. The no, but that Prince Paul would be perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. No, that shit would be some whole other shit. See, he's a guy I always admired his work because none of his shit, none of his material ever sounded the same. And you could tell he was always just a creative, whether it was instrumental albums, collaborating with other producers, collaborating with other MCs. Like, everything was a story. Like it wasn't just all right. I'm gonna make beats for a rapper, or I'm gonna have somebody rap on my beat. It's like we're gonna create a world to bring the listener into.
Yeah, no, it's the thing was that he was so collaborative
Yeah.
that for a while I didn't really know what his sound was. Like I loved Gravediggers. I love Handsome Boy Modeling School. I love all the individual projects.
Yeah. The early daylight
But
shit.
it took me a while to be like, oh shit, he's the guy from all these,
Yeah, hell yeah.
because you're right, it's so different.
Yeah, hell yeah. And I would say, I just thought the producer question, Trent Reznor, if I got a chance to work with somebody.
Wow, that's really cool. That's
Oh
a
yeah,
good,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, me and him will make some wild shit.
that's good stuff. And I think it makes sense. Like it's not these aren't pie in the sky things. Like this, I could see it if they like if Dan the Automator heard Gandhi Loves Children was like, who is this dude? Like I could totally see that taking place.
Yeah, hell
Um,
yeah.
that's
Hell yeah.
awesome.
We're gonna make that happen.
Why not?
Yeah, for
Why
sure.
not?
Hell yeah.
The yeah, and honestly, guest star Pharaoh Monch, you can't really beat that. It's not that's not a guy who does a lot of features, right?
Yeah, no. But whenever he do is fucking classic. I'll tell you that shit. I never. He's literally like one of the only MCs that not realizing, but I'm like, damn, I never heard nothing from him that I'm like, it just sounded like he was in the studio and just recorded some shit. I'm like, God damn. Every time he go at it, it's times 10, and like that's how I look at myself. So like, I respect that from any MC. Like
Yeah, I mean, and some of his albums are like PTSD. Like I think, like
heavy conceptual, heavy conceptual. Hell yeah.
What'd you say?
No, I say heavy conceptual projects too. That's
Yeah,
another.
no,
He don't
I
make just a
don't
lot
think
of songs. Like
the
like
individual albums aren't really held up as classic as they should be, right? Like he's
yeah,
not really seen as in the conversation with other people, even though you really should be.
yeah,
Uh,
no, for sure.
that's yeah. The the other thing I was going to ask you about, we talk about while rap itself seems pretty well integrated, right? Like where people kind of, you're kicking it with iceberg theory and, everybody's kind of cross pollinating um, from pop to underground. The fan bases still seem kind of siloed and camped out. And how do you think we can knock down the walls that separate these particular artists?
No, it's funny because I always look at it like I always say it's two types of undergrounds right now. It's either the Griselda type shit or it's more the Earl Sweatshirt type like shit. And to me, like I love when you get somebody who can like merge both. And to me, that like 2021, I think you're gonna see a lot more of that. You're gonna see just a lot of different merging of different artists and producers who before might be familiar with each other's work, but it's like that's dope, but I can't fully embrace it because it's not what I'm doing, or my fan base might not fully embrace it. But that's
It's
definitely changing for sure.
it's wild, man, because you would have people. I realized this because I was watching people talk about the best albums of the year, and some of them wouldn't even mention Woods, right?
Yeah, no.
They would be like, they're way over here in the goon rap section. They're just like, it's Benny and it's Ransom and they're just like right there.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
over here, it's Milo and Open Mike Eagle, and it's just
yeah.
this corner right here. And then there's like the straight ahead kind of Rolling Stones, like you should listen to City Girls and Little Uzi Vert, and like they're just
City Girls get the strip club popping. I ain't gonna lie.
what
The City Girls get the strip club popping. I can't lie to you.
I know. I fuck with it. I enjoy City Girls, and what I've said is that like the City Girls kind of rap should always exist. Like Florida sex talk rap.
Hell yeah.
Should always exist. Right?
Pussy pop tunes.
Right.
You can't get enough of them joints. You know what I mean? Pussy pop.
And
yeah.
A lot of people that are trying to do that don't sound as good as City Girls do. Like, just to be honest, they're just because that's their natural deal.
Yeah. No, I think I would say it just got to be a lot of just different people get familiar with each other's sound. I think that's also what it is too. A lot of people are just, I can't even say ignorant. They just might not know about what's going on in this state or this city. Like, that's one thing I always loved about how I came up with just like hip hop influences. I'm obviously from Jersey, so I already knew about all of the East Coast stuff, but I would always go down south to visit family.
Right.
So that's why I would hear a lot of the Outkast and Goody Mob and Pastor Troy. And I also was a huge fan of Midwest shit. So like I was bringing up before, shit like Esham and Tech Nine and all of that. Like, to me, I always put it in one big pot. That's why I always that's one thing I always liked about like how I created like my music as an artist. Like, I always took influences from all of that. It wasn't just New York is the best, LA is the best, fucking Ohio is the best. It's just like, yo, who don't? If you don't, fuck you. Like,
yeah. And I'm always like, shout out to the regions. I love the regions, but I think what's cool about the regions is understanding like what about New Jersey gives you the outside or gives you like Redman or whatever, gives you Tretch or whatever. Like, what about Detroit gives you Pace One or whatever.
Pace One is Jersey.
Is he Jersey?
Hell yeah.
I kept getting it screwed up in my head.
New Jersey.
I was just about to say Jersey Outsiders Pace One, but I had a Detroit thing in my head stuck, and I'm very sorry.
You was just thinking about Eminem.
Huh?
I said you was just thinking about fucking Eminem.
Fucking Eminem. He's fucking everywhere. Ridiculous. But no, that was
I definitely feel you on that for sure.
But that was the question I asked Googie. That was a fun question. Was what do you do when you get big, when you break big, but you have a fan base full of people that you don't like? Like, there's no way. Eminem is a smart guy. There's no way he likes those people, right?
He might love him. You fucking never know. They paying him. Shit. I think he might be so rich now. He passed the point of like making even like making an idea in his brain. It's just like, am I getting paid? Yes. Okay. Am I not? No. Or some wealthy RoboCop shit. Like
his context is just gone. It's just like he's just in the same Fila sweats that he's been in for the last 20 years or whatever. That's rough. That's rough. We got to break him out. And I always felt that what he should have done at the height of his popularity was just put together an album where all the features were like rappers he grew up loving. Right? So just like Redman is on track one. That's why he wears
all of their t-shirts. He be wearing all of their t-shirts with all the different album covers. You ever seen it with all of the t-shirts with the different albums and shit? I'm like, yeah.
So call up G-Rap and put him on a song then. Like, G-Rap, do it. So I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, it seems like with the integrating fan bases, what I was thinking was, you remember there was a time when like Kendrick couldn't get pop. He just didn't have the singles enough to really become a pop guy. And then
That was like early in his career, though.
that was early. But then
Yeah,
like
that was,
Drake put him on that one song on Take Care. And there was a whole new group of people that were like, this guy's great. You know, like
yeah.
uh, it was funny, man. I used to wear a TDE sweatshirt to the office. And people would be like, what is that? And then when Kendrick broke, people pointed at me and said, "Oh, I saw your guy on TV. I saw your guy."
Oh, okay, so you was an early TDE fan from the
Oh yeah.
from the Michael Jordan days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Section 8.
Dedicated. Overly dedicated.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. And like so, and what the funny part was, even when he broke big, even when he went pop, even when like it was everywhere, people would still go up to me and be like, what is your sweatshirt mean? What is TDE? Because they didn't know the label he was on, you know?
Yeah, the magnifying glass was just on him. It didn't really back up and start reaching all of the other members till much later.
Right. Yeah. And even then, you get to put out one album every 3-4 years. Just like look at SZA, you know, just sitting there. But yeah, no, it's wild because yeah, people's level of engagement is very different with what they want to do. When I was young and I got into No Limit, I just started researching all No Limit. I was listening to, you know, like the seventh dude down the line. I was just like, dude, I got to hear more of this shit.
Oh, you was going deep with you was like an 08 No Limit fan then.
Well, and yes, I mean, it's just, I'm in Maine, right? I was one of the only Mainers who was in on 50 Cent's mixtape run.
Hell yeah, for Power of a Dollar. Hell yeah.
I heard him be like, "That's not assault, that's an insult." You know, like I heard him on that and just be like, I remember being like on Napster, being like, "Holy shit, this is not gonna be good. What is he doing?" And yeah, but no one else even knew until like there was an award show. Eminem goes up and he goes to the mic and he says, "You know what? And you guys should be on the lookout for my newest artist next year, 50 Cent." And I don't know what, back in the day we watched the MTV Awards as a group, as a party thing. What a terrible idea.
Yeah, I think I did up until like 02 maybe. And then I was like, fuck this shit.
I pointed at the TV in this like Shakespearean way and was like, this is gonna fuck everything up. Everything is gonna get fucked up now. And I said, you don't know this dude. He's not like everybody else. He's gonna fucking destroy this shit. Like,
did you like his material after he got with 50? Did you like the older 50 Cent shit or just?
No, man. I mean, I dug the first 2 albums on Aftermath.
See, I fucked with the first 4.
Oh yeah. No, but but by the way, he still put out some dope mixtapes after that.
Yeah, his mixtape shit was always kind of dope. To me, I kind of super said fuck him when around the Animal Ambition album, because that shit was like god awfully bad. And then like everything he dropped after then, besides the Power theme song, I was just like, nah, this shit is horrible.
Yeah, the Animal Ambition was the goodbye. That was like the goodbye part.
Bro.
And yeah, that was but
that
50,
shit, that's one of the worst albums I ever fucking heard.
Horrible.
That.
Horrible. I mean, if you have an album cover where you are partly animal, I don't think I'm into it. I don't think I like it. I don't think I support it.
Yeah, that single was terrible too. The Animal, when he had the lions in the video and some shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, I could tell formula. I could tell their formula is done over there. Whatever they was doing before, they definitely not doing no more.
What you have to give 50 credit for was he was one of the first pop dudes to throw out the big name producer things and just be like, you know what? This guy gave me a dope beat and that's my lead single and I don't give a fuck. Yeah. You know,
no,
I Get Money was that, right? I Get Money was just like some dude and he was like, I don't care, dude. This shit is, he was a very good beat picker.
Yeah, hell yeah. I Get Money was the shit.
So
Plenty of nights to that joint right there. Feel me?
and there's a lot of bad beat pickers out there. Um,
Yeah.
so that brings me to an interesting question. It's one of my favorites. Fatboy Sharif, what would you say are the components of a shitty album?
Oh, shitty album. Sequencing is always a minus for me. Just bad track lists and just bad like album placement. Then from there, you might have you might have one or two forgettable features that don't really go with the rest of the album, and then just like you said, whack ass beats.
Yep.
It's not that hard to fuck up an album at all. Like, because I hear certain albums that I'm like, yo, like I'm pretty sure you've had this moment where I hear an album and I'm like, damn, why the fuck wasn't this the single? This song is a perfect single. Like, even if the album is great, I'll hear certain things that I'm like, yo, like I went through that recently when I was listening to Liquid Swords. I'm like, yo, perfect ass album. But I'm listening and I'm like, damn, why the hell wasn't the song with Method Man one of the main singles? The If You Living in the World Today. Because I'm
Yep.
like, it got the catchy hook, ill ass beat, dope ass lyrics. I'm like, that could have went right up there with Cold World and Liquid Swords and singles, but you
Yeah,
never
no,
know.
it's different when you pull up an album. Like Prince has a shit where you'll pull up a Prince wiki and you look at the singles and you're like, no, that makes sense. You nailed that. Like it's good, you know. Um, and that's hard to do. A lot of people pick the wrong singles. Um, but I will say there are terrible albums that I still kind of love and respect. Um,
Yeah,
Lil Wayne's Rebirth is is a terrible album,
I love that album.
but I love it. I
That literally,
love the album. I
no,
love the album.
that's literally my favorite Lil Wayne album. I never like none of his other albums. That
Oh,
that shit, I thought he was actually rapping on that album good. Like,
that is that take is fire. That is fantastic.
I think it's two songs on there I fucking hate it. The Nicki Minaj song and I forgot the other one, but the rest of the album, like, I actually like went to the store and bought that and like listened to it for like I had it in my CD player for a while and everything. Like,
I
it's
love
I'll still go back to that off that.
I love I love Rebirth because he believes that shit so much. Like he believes in himself and what he's doing so much. He's just like, this fucking rules. And you got to give him some love on that. To me, a shitty album is where you're listening to it and you don't believe the person doing it actually likes it that much.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like,
Or you don't believe the shit they saying on the album. If it's one of those type of albums, if it's not
right.
more of like a conceptual, or you'll hear it and be like, I don't really believe he fucked 100 girls last night.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of people had that complaint about the Benny the Butcher Hit Boy album that it felt like Benny thought it was a mixtape and Hit Boy thought it was an album,
It's hard.
and
Yeah.
it didn't all the way hit together.
It's funny because I know some people that like love that album. Like,
Yep. I know people too.
for sure. Oh, I wanted to ask you because I know the Zoom shit is set for an hour. Are we
Yep.
good? This not going to shut down or nothing, right?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Because I know I had a situation last week. The Zoom shut down after an hour. Okay,
No, I don't have a time. I set like an hour and a half time limit, but that was just meh.
Okay,
Whatever. Do whatever. But yeah, that was conceptual. Like sequencing is such a big part of not fucking up an album. And
Yeah.
I don't think it gets talked about a lot.
No, that's why I literally like I'll have when I'm working on a project, I'll have all of the songs and I'll literally listen to them like 2 or 3 different ways. Or I might even just write out a track list, top to bottom, and be like, all right, these words just sound good coming after these words.
Mhm.
Type thing, like, and probably it's probably 3 or 4 revisions, and I get it the way I want it and play it. And if everything is hitting, I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like, let's leave it like that. Because some songs you might not even be crazy about, but within the track list it goes perfect. Like that happens a lot as an artist, like for sure.
And that was like the benefit on this. Like a lot of these songs are, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but you have some 1 minute stuff in here, 1 minute, a minute and a half, that like it breezes through and it makes it move. But there's still work getting done. There's still some good work getting done.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, you don't need a damn 15-minute song to get you. I always say, like, especially like the way I write, like you said, 3 minutes to 1 minute. I think writing is like conversations. That's how I look at it. So I always look at it like some conversations is 5 minutes. Like if I see you and I'm just like, no, some conversations is 2 minutes. If I see you, yo, damn, it's crazy. This guy at my job got fired for stealing. The boss had the camera up. They seen him. He ran away. Okay, you get the whole gist of the story. He was stealing. He got fired.
Right.
If I call you like, damn, I got a kid in Oklahoma I just found out about after 10 years. That conversation is going to be way longer because there's going to be way more questions that I got to answer within that. So that's how I kind of approach my writing, depending on where I want to take it conceptually and just the overall idea.
Sometimes you call and you're like, you have a long conversation. You make sure the person's okay. Sometimes you call and you're like, I just want to make sure you're good.
Yeah,
you good?
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that makes sense because there's some people. I feel like the song length thing has become a big divide. Some people are still making 5-6 minute songs one after another, with like long albums. Some people are now switching to where like everything's a minute and a half or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it seems like both approaches are a little annoying, maybe.
I like it because to me, I always judge the writer on being the writer. So like to me, like for example, the Killer Priest Nebula album, it's like 22 songs. It's at least 3 songs that's like 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
But it's literally like songs about like people coming to this country and getting like shitted on. Like you can't really make that a minute and 30 seconds. Or if you did, the idea would be rushed. So like something like that, I love where it's in details and you getting the full story. Other stories is just like the newest A$AP Rock album. Amazing. Probably like 18 tracks, but it's a few 1 minute tracks, 2 minute tracks. And it's you getting the same story and the same information within that short period of time. So I think it depends on the writer and the story.
That's a great point. And I've in my where I am now, I just kind of feel like it's not about the amount of tracks; it's about the total runtime.
Yeah.
And if you're hitting that hour and you're going over, you better have some shit to say.
Yeah. No, I will admit to that. Yeah,
you're riding over the hour. All right, it's on. You got to tell us something. You can't just pop bottles for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's a horrible experience for our.
Although, I feel like E40 breaks all my pre-identified rules for albums.
No, E40 has an album that's like 70 songs long. I think it's like an 8 disc. He was doing like 3 disc albums in like the 90s. So I think The Price of Fame, I think it's like 2 discs. And it's like 29 songs or some shit. Literally, I'm pretty sure if you listen to it, it might actually be 7 songs that's actually about an actual thing. And the other 18 might just be him just doing his E40 shit. But
and I remember I was sitting there and it was like, the album should showcase you. There shouldn't be too many guests, and the album shouldn't be too many songs, and it shouldn't be too long. And then E40 put out Block Brochure series, and it was 1,000 songs long, and everybody was featuring on it. It was great. And I was like, all right, well, fuck me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I literally heard probably like 2 songs off of that album ever.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Blood for Sure series.
Yeah,
there.
I gotta tap into that one.
That's so. So that is interesting. You have other forms of art that inspire your music. What other forms of art have been grabbing you recently?
It's kind of always been the same for me. Like, really, right now, it's kind of like what's going on with the COVID and everything happening in the world. Like, to me, just a lot of environment. Like, I might literally take the train to Brooklyn and just walk around for like 2 hours and come up with 3 songs, or ride the subway back and forth from New York to Jersey, or just go visit a family member I ain't seen in a minute. And from that situation, I'm like, yo, I got a dope concept for a song, and
Awesome.
I started building off that. Even just pictures, like recently, a lot of pictures have been inspiring me. Just like older pictures, like from like 70s to 80s, I'll see them and I'll put in my head what I think the picture's trying to get across. And I'm like, yo, if I can write something to make me feel the way this picture feel, that's gonna be something dope for people to check out.
That's awesome. Just being open.
Yeah,
Being open and making it happen. So you've got shit everywhere. You're in the zone right now, so to speak, right? Just like knocking out work. Are you getting more calls than you've been getting ever? Are you in post GLC? Are you?
Yeah. The love has been amazing. Like, and I got a few bigger. We got some big things in the works. Stay tuned for sure. From different projects, different videos, and a bunch of 2021 is going to be some amazing things are going to be happening. I'm gonna definitely tune you. I'm gonna definitely tap you in early, so you know about a lot of it for sure.
Good deal. What do you have a clear song that you hear on GLC and go, that's me killing it? Like my pen is there on this one. Like do you have one?
Jack-o'-lantern sculpture.
Huh?
The jack-o'-lantern sculpture. I'm so happy you asked me that. Yes. When I wrote that shit, I'm like, oh my goodness. This song, I can listen to this song the rest of my life.
That's awesome. That's it. It's just, and when I said I admire the way you move, I just think a lot of, people that I saw that were just like really good artists, they could never get their shit figured out because they could never admit how good they were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. Sometimes you might feel like a dickhead admitting that you're really fucking good.
Yeah.
And you're able to really assess this and be like, no, that shit, I killed that shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. I put 2 to 3 years into that shit. Like, to me, something like that, I always look at it like, just with everything we go through as artists, from learning songs to remembering them to shooting videos to spending money for merch and all of that, I think we can sit back and be like, yo, this is some amazing shit. Like, obviously, we're going to be humble because that's just a part of life, but I can easily sit back and be like, yeah, that was some dope shit. That was some dope shit I created. That's a dope ass beat Roper made. Like, this is some ill shit we created. Sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and the fact that you were able to do it with Roper, and that Roper, you guys now have the ability to kind of branch out and branch in, like do more music together, do more music with other people, do whatever,
Yeah, GLC is a brand. I told people GLC is a brand for sure. Like,
that's awesome.
People with that GLC shit, they know who to come to. Me and Rope.
Yep, because no one's gonna really flip it the way you do. And one of the reasons that Arsenic has really stuck with me is the arsenic, the the hook. Your voice is so all over the place, uh, but always under control. It's how do you experiment into that stuff? How does that is that stuff written in, or is that just performed out once the writing is there?
It's kind of like a combination of both, because like I'll write something and I'll be like, all right, literally the emotion of what I'm saying about this has to be heard within the voice. So let's say I'll just freestyle saying, if I'm talking about a family member that passed away from a drug overdose, and I'm like, comatose, his body overdose, you're gonna get a different feeling if I'm just like, his comatose, his body overdose. Like
Right.
Me saying it the first way I said it, and it might make you think about a friend you had that may have died from a drug overdose, or just a situation where you felt pain in your life that you like, I feel like screaming at the wall. I don't think nobody else is listening to me right now, what I'm saying. Like,
and the amount of work that goes in, you're in a way you're like creating a new melody for every bar. Like,
yeah, that's
it's
what, yeah, I always attempt to. I always try to bring something different than what you heard the last 2 or 3 features or the last 2 or 3 songs.
yeah, man, that is special, man, and that's cool.
Thank
uh
you, brother. Much love.
do
Thank you.
you what were your top albums of 2020? What were you locked in? You've said the Killer Priest probably be up there for you.
Yeah, I said them earlier. The Killer Priest, the Sharp Nail joint, the Army Hammer, the Stove God, the West Side joint,
Yep.
the Juke, the Makami, the that More Mother Billy Woods. That shook
Oh,
shit at the
oh
end
yeah,
of the year.
Brass.
That shit shook shit at the end of the year. Like,
Yep.
my man, the Kai Solo, Brooklyn, he dropped some fire shit. Uh, the Fly Seafood, a
Love
bunch of
Fly
them.
Seafoods. Love it. I've been
Yeah.
on a big Fly Anakin kick recently. I just
Oh,
really
word.
enjoy and trust Fly Anakin, um, every song he puts out. So
Yeah, Roper put me on to him. Like,
he's good.
Roper put me on him. I was like, yeah, definitely. Like, I definitely heard some dope shit for sure.
I
For
will
sure.
say, Stove God was a little bit controversial in when it came out over the year. I think more people adopted, but like there were some people definitely at the beginning who were like, "We're just not even trying to rhyme anymore. What is
No,
this?"
it's funny. It's funny you said. I forgot the Mount Marcy too. The last
Oh,
song,
Bob
Marcy.
Marcy. Yep.
Yeah, that should be getting heavy rotation. But the
Yep.
Stove God joint, I remember when it first dropped, I was just seeing the cover, and he didn't. He was like on some like he was on some disguise shit. So he didn't
Right.
do no It wasn't no interviews, no videos. So it just was like out. So my family sent it to me, my man Book, and he like, yo, check it out or whatever. So I clicked it. I think I might have heard 2 or 3 songs, and I'm like, it's cool. Like, and he was like, yeah, the beats is dope, this and that. So I'm like, all right, cool. So probably about maybe like a month or 2 later, I went back just listening to it, and I'm like, oh my god, this shit is fucking amazing. Straight through, like that should definitely hopped in my top 10 list, like probably in the last 2 months of the year for sure. Like,
Yeah, because I brought it up as top 10. You're like, you're fucking
yeah,
crazy.
like
And I'm
I
like,
don't.
oh, what?
Yeah, I don't think anybody hit the hooks like he did. Right?
no, no,
Like
no.
he was just hitting hooks like his life depended on it. It was really something else.
No, it's ill because like to me that's like I don't want to say perfect, but that's like a damn near like that's like a classic East Coast sounding album. From
Yeah.
like the beats, the hooks, like it's kind of literally like that early like Get Rich or Die Trying shit. How you were saying about like how
Yep.
50 came out of and like if you was like, yo, how could if you was talking to somebody out of the area like, yo, East Coast hip hop sounds like this. You could play something like Get Rich or Die Trying or something like that. To me, Stove God is like that type of album. Like the reason, like Reasonable Drought, I'm like, yo, this shit is definitely like, and it sounds like 2020. Like to me, it's another one of them albums. Like it's not touching on stuff that's happening now, but when you just hear it, you like, yo, this shit is dope.
And maybe the comparison is like YG's My Crazy Life. Do you remember YG? When My Crazy Life came out, everybody was like, that's some West Coast shit right there.
Yeah.
So
A lot of my people were big fans of that shit.
It's kind of like that on the East, like where Mount Marcy and the Stove God album, that is some East Coast shit right there. That is like,
beautiful. Beautiful East Coast street music. That's how you got to put it. Like,
and I think I sat around reviewing mixtapes as the East Coast was in terrible shape, and I watched it turn, and I think it was because it started to get weird. People started to make jokes. People started to talk about like, just interesting oddball shit, and it wasn't straight ahead anymore. It wasn't. You went from Vado to Marciano, right? Like, and there was just it was different.
A way high upgrade.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love both. I'm a Vado guy, but he was what we had, right? Vado was the best we had at one point. But yeah, but then like you really upgraded to like Action Bronson and some weird shit, and everything got a little more interesting. So
no, I agree with you because for me, I always say like, to me that started literally from like 2011 on, when you had like Mr. Esquire and fucking even like early Billy Wood shit back then, like History Will Absolve Me, like
yeah,
like all of that, Flatbush Zombies, like to me that was like the classic era, like East Coast hip hop, like on the independent scene for sure.
Early Flatbush Zombies was incredible.
Hell yeah.
Architect, awesome.
I think we getting another resurgence of that now, to tell you the truth. Like what from both sides.
Yeah.
Like if people want to separate it, I think you got it from both sides. But as a whole, like I said, 2020 was definitely one of my favorite like top album years on some just like dope ass hip hop. And who knew it would come in a year that you literally couldn't do shows and the world would be shut down. Like crazy.
It's weird, and it played into it because I think like that East Coast like braggadocio, but like cold weather meanness, we kind of needed that.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
What was like I always say that East Coast rap is for people waiting at bus stops who are pissed off. Like that's what this music should do for you. You should be like,
let
I'm high or low, dead or you should like get into that shit.
Let me ask you, what's your favorite East Coast sounding album? Or I could say your favorite East Coast album.
It's good. It's a good point. I think, and for me, I think of like some of that, like 1, 2, 3 era Cool G rap shit was really, that's some real East Coast shit.
Hell yeah.
Classic. What was that? The Lost Boys. That is like very of its time East Coast. But some of that stuff, I mean, we did a Sean Price episode, and we were talking about how much more interesting Sean Price was than everybody else, right? Like that Monkey Bars wasn't leading the way; it was part of a rollout, and the lead album was Buckshot and Ninth Wonder, and no one really cares or remembers that shit. Like, and those guys are.
I was just literally talking to Roper the other day. I'm like, yo, that's some of Buckshot best rapping to me on those Ninth Wonder albums. Like, and it was like amazing production. I wish that they literally did more with that, or some like or some, not Run the Jewels, but or some more like, I wish they like stamped that more, like them too. Like I wish they did like 5 or 6 albums by now, but they did 3, so I can't complain and they always
Right.
dope. But
No,
like I definitely loved like them two like connecting for sure. Like
no, it's true, and I think Ninth Wonder's always better with like a grimy person, like
yeah, he is. Oh yeah, yeah.
because his like soul sample softness against Sean Price is awesome, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
But if it's against a soft voice, nice person telling you nice things, that's too much of the same thing, right?
I think he was perfect with Little Brother.
Yeah, I mean, Little Brothers is amazing, but I mean, and some of that's just the talent involved in all that shit. But like, and there's all kinds of weird people who were super influential, but don't get brought up. G Side from Alabama, uh,
Uh,
DJ Burn One's run with his like Burn One collective, their Indeed Face and all that. Uh, there's just all kinds of interesting people. But let's try. Oh, I'll give you one of the weird old mixtapes that I'd fucking. Oh, what was the? I gotta find my East Coast pick. Okay, this is Nookie Thompson, Smoke DZA.
oh wow. Yeah. Funny thing, I'm pretty sure I heard that project before, but I literally can't remember a song off of it.
Oh, it's got my favorite pro wrestling song of all time. It's a song dedicated to New Jack.
Oh yeah.
So
Funny
great.
thing, no,
Love.
the song is called New Jack, right?
Yep.
No, you're right. I own that CD. That album is crazy. Because I remember that video was dope because New Jack was in the video. Like,
Smoke DZA, man. Like I remember when he was one of the weirdest concert experiences I had. I went to see the Jet Life Crew in Massachusetts, and he came on, and I thought he was like the weak link of the crew. I was just like, this guy sounds like a Southern rapper, but he's from New York. It's kind of confusing. Whatever, it's fine. And he came on stage and he gripped the mic like he was the greatest rapper in the world. He was just like, yeah. And the crowd went nuts for him. And me and my friend were like, are we missing something? This is just Smoke DZA, And he destroyed it. Incredible show.
yeah, hell yeah.
And I was like, man, I just listened to his music in a different way after that. And he had that King of New York thing.
He was I always say he's the OG for the wrestling raps. Like,
Yep.
For sure.
He was in the mix. He was in the mix with that shit for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's all kinds of weird great East Coast sounding albums, but hip hop is better when the East Coast is prominent and healthy.
For you.
It is better. When it's just one region, just kind of messing around, it doesn't hit the same. It's good to have multiple things popping.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, it's dope because even with like a question like that, it's all about perspective. Because like for me, like East Coast, like for me, just like from the cold winters out here, me walking around, I would say two of my favorite albums that embody the East Coast to me, unlike no other, is literally like Cold Vein and Fun Crusher. Like with just the production, the content, even like the wording that they use, and like I'm like, yo, you couldn't get this from nowhere else, like in the world, type shit.
No, and the crazy part about this, and this is going to be weird. I talked to Alaska about this. Like I cleared it with him. I used to hate Def Jux. I used to hate it with a passion. And so I never really fully listened to Cold Vein with any kind of reasonable ear. And then over time, I discovered how amazing a lot of the shit was. And I just dove into Cold Vein like last year.
Oh, you in for a treat. You about to play that shit the rest of your fucking life.
That shit was amazing.
You just yeah, you will. I guarantee you will listen to that shit at least once a week, or at least 3 to 4 songs a day for the remainder of your life.
Zilla
It's
Rocca
my
said
favorite
it's the
album.
best winter album, best winter rap album of all time.
No, literally, like I put it on and listen to it when I walk through like New York sometimes, and I'm like, bro, what? Like, I'm like, this shit is perfect. Like,
It's
they couldn't have
unbelievable.
literally like they couldn't have spit a better bar or took a song off or added it. Like, even like the production, you couldn't have chose better beats for
Yeah.
that time, especially for 2001 New York City after 9/11 and all of that. Shit was fucking perfect. Like,
And LP was just a fucking
yeah,
different dude, man. And
different. Hell yeah.
it's a great thing to put for you. I think Curly Castro had said like LP is his favorite rapper of all time or something.
Yeah,
Like I don't know where to place LP amongst my best rappers of all time because he's one of the best producers of all time. And I don't understand how to rank all that at the same because like he's always rapping over the best beats because he makes the best beats.
yeah. I would say he's high on both lists. You gotta give him that. You gotta give him high on the production, high with the bars,
God, he is
and just the overall song making. Like, he's somebody who could do like a 9-minute song and it's a perfect song. You'll be like, damn, I wish this song was shorter. Like, it'll be a full story, amazing hook, lyric, like
and he doesn't
he's what I call like a amazing musician.
right.
I wouldn't even put him in just like a rapper cat. Like, he's like a musician type shit. Like,
That's a great point. He doesn't really have bad albums. He doesn't really
hell
have
no.
a bad album or a bad chunk of an album. It's
Yeah,
just
no, hell no.
I love all that shit. You know,
Hell yeah.
it's a different level, man. And I think even the great ones that we love have some weird shit. Um, for him to be as solid as he's been, as long as he's been, has been pretty incredible. And I think when he showed up on that Droog album and flamed that track,
Yeah,
it
killed
was
that
just
shit.
like, jeez, man, I gotta re-rank this dude.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Roper came crazy with that shit.
That
I
shit
was
was
like,
amazing.
oh my goodness, this beat is fucking ridiculous. Mind you, I never heard that beat before that until that song was out. I was like, what the fuck? Why the fuck you never played me this damn beat? He was like, I played it for you. You probably just ignored it. I'm like, all right, man. LP on it, fuck me. Like,
Whew. That's what you got to do next year. You got to get
yeah,
on
that
one of
shit was
these
crazy.
indie posse tracks and close that shit.
Hell yeah. I told you I got the last song on that Flavor Flav and You Got album, bro.
Let's do it. Let's
I'm
do it.
killing that. 41 bars.
Yep.
Shit is gonna
That's your
kill me.
shine. That's your shot.
I have Chuck talk on that shit and all that.
You could do like the Son of G Rap, the 38 Special G Rap album. You could do like a coordinated album, with Bizarre or somebody like that. That'd be
Prayers to Bizarre too. He in the hospital right now. I'm saying.
yeah. Yeah,
Hopefully he get well for sure. Yeah, that shit is crazy.
we kid because the heart goes out. That's what that is. But yeah, no, it's wishing everybody getting better from the hospitals and shit. But
Hell yeah, stay safe out there, man. You and your fam, like, definitely. I don't know how crazy the COVID is in Maine, but I don't know if it's like as off the charts as it is up here, but definitely
I'm not leaving.
mask up
I'm not
and
leaving the house. I'm not leaving the house.
you told me you've been like super quarantining for a minute. But if you step
Yep.
out, mask up, push people that's too close, tell them get the fuck back. Or
Yep. My son only hates quarantine because he's like, I just want to go to Dunkin' Donuts. He's just
yeah, that is a reason to risk it all. Them damn cold coffee coladas with the glaze. I ain't gonna lie to you. I might have to hop on one of them. I'm glad you said that. That's my next stop.
He's like, hit me with that donut. Hit me with that donut. And I'm like, Jesus, dude. But yeah, keep me on the list for advanced copies of shit.
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like now that I've been able to live in the GLC world, I will be better prepared for the next release.
It is
I will
nothing like GLC. So that's the fun part. Hell yeah.
It's always going to
But
be an
definitely,
ambush.
bro. Yeah, hell yeah. And definitely thank you for having me, bro.
No problem, man. It's
Much love with the continued support for sure.
you're I mean you're on Cabbages, you're on I just got a notification, you're on Call Out Culture. You're everywhere, man.
Oh yeah. That's probably dropping today. We did that like 2 weeks ago.
And you hit me before any of that stuff, man. You hit me and were like, listen to this shit. And I was like, all right.
Hell yeah.
So I appreciate it, man. That's awesome.
Much love, bro, for sure.
Definitely. Thank you very much for coming on. And
Thank you so much for having me. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Free Music Empire. Y'all definitely gotta support my man Dan O. Always bringing the ill flavor with the newest releases and all of that shit. So definitely
one
support
last
that
thing,
whole
a message to the audience. Yell at a relative about politics. Do it for me. Tell them I sent you. Yell at a relative. Huh?
Fuck it.